Have you ever wondered why some people have hypermobile joints, stretchy skin, or tissue fragility? These are signs of a genetic disorder known as Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. This condition is as intriguing as it is complex, and it's marked by a range of symptoms which may vary greatly from person to person. At the heart of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, or EDS for short, is an issue with the body's connective tissues, those structures that hold together, support, and provide strength to different parts of the body. But it's not just about overly flexible joints or skin that stretches more than usual. Some individuals with EDS may also experience more serious complications, like heart problems. So what's the root cause of these symptoms? Well, it all comes down to genetics. EDS is passed down from parents to their children through their genes. Now let us delve into the genetics behind this fascinating syndrome. To understand Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, we must first understand the basics of genetics. So, what are genes? Picture them as the body's instruction manual. They decide everything from the color of your eyes to how your body functions. Sometimes, however, these instructions can go awry due to mutations or changes in our genes. These mutations aren't necessarily bad. In fact, they're often responsible for our individual uniqueness. But sometimes they can lead to disorders. Imagine if a page from your instruction manual was missing or altered. Your body might not know how to build a certain part correctly. This brings us to collagen. Collagen is the most abundant protein in our bodies. It's a major component of our skin, bones, tendons, and many other tissues, acting like a glue that holds these tissues together. Now imagine if the instructions for making this glue were flawed. This is where we introduce Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, or EDS. Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is a group of disorders that affect your body's ability to produce collagen. It's like building a house with faulty cement. The walls might still stand, but they're not as strong as they should be. This results in symptoms that can range from mild to severe, affecting various parts of the body. The effect on the body can vary because there are different types of collagen and, therefore, different types of EDS. Each type is caused by mutations in specific genes that give instructions for making a particular type of collagen. For example, in some types of EDS, the mutation affects the genes responsible for collagen in the skin and ligaments, while in others, it might affect the collagen in blood vessels. So, Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is a result of mutations in the genes that produce collagen. But how do these mutations occur, and can they be passed on to the next generation? Scene script. Many ask if Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is hereditary. The answer is, most of the time, yes. Let's delve into the world of genetics to understand this better. You might remember from your high school biology class that we all have pairs of genes, one from each parent. Some traits require only one dominant gene to be expressed, while others need two recessive genes to show up. In the context of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, it's a bit of both. There are 13 types of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, and the inheritance patterns vary. Most types, like the hypermobile type, follow an autosomal dominant pattern. This means that an individual needs to inherit only one copy of the faulty gene from either parent to develop the disorder. However, some types, like the dermatosparaxis type, follow an autosomal recessive pattern. Here, both parents must pass on a copy of the faulty gene for the child to develop the disorder. Now, you might be thinking, what if neither of my parents has Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome? Well, there's something called a de novo mutation. This is when a new mutation occurs in the gene that wasn't present in either parent. It's like a surprise, but not the kind you'd want at a birthday party. This can lead to the development of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, even when there's no family history of the disorder. But don't get too worried just yet. While the chances of inheriting Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome can seem daunting, it's crucial to remember that not everyone with the faulty gene will develop the disorder. There's an element of chance and other factors at play too. Finally, keep in mind that while we're talking about genetics here, the real-life implications are never as straightforward as a textbook. There's a whole lot of human experience tangled up in those double helixes. Knowing the inheritance pattern helps in understanding the risks involved. But how is this disorder diagnosed? Diagnosing Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome can be a complex process. This complexity stems from the wide range of symptoms and the several different types of this condition. However, there are three primary methods that healthcare professionals often use: physical examination, family history, and genetic testing. In a physical examination, doctors look for signs of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. These can include overly flexible joints, stretchy or fragile skin, and the presence of unusual scars. However, these symptoms can vary greatly from patient to patient, and some might not display these signs at all. Next, a thorough family history is taken into account. Since Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is a genetic disorder, there's a chance it might run in families. If a close family member is known to have the condition, it raises the possibility that other family members might have it too. However, it's also important to remember that this condition can occur due to spontaneous mutations. This means that it can appear in individuals with no family history of the disorder. Finally, genetic testing plays a crucial role in the diagnosis of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. This involves taking a sample of blood and analyzing it in a lab to look for specific genetic mutations. While this method can confirm the diagnosis, it's not foolproof. Some types of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome can't be identified through current genetic tests. The importance of early diagnosis cannot be overstated. The sooner Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is identified, the sooner appropriate management strategies can be put into place. These can include physical therapy, pain management, and in some cases, surgery. But it's not always an easy road. The variability of symptoms and the different types of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome can make diagnosis challenging. With such a complex disorder, it's vital to have accurate diagnosis and effective management strategies. That's why research into Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is so important. It's through this research that we can hope to improve diagnostic techniques and treatment options, making life better for those living with this condition. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a disorder of the collagen, brings with it a unique set of challenges. We've taken a deep dive into the genetics behind this syndrome, unraveled the complexities of its inheritance, and explored the diagnostic process. It's clear that understanding this disorder is not a simple task. However, as we've seen, knowledge is power. The more we know about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, the better equipped we are to manage and cope with its manifestations. The importance of awareness cannot be overstated. It's not just about those who are living with the condition, but also about the broader community. Understanding brings empathy, and empathy brings support. In a world where the reality of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a daily struggle for many, that support can make all the difference. Knowledge empowers us to better manage this syndrome. Remember to like, share, and spread the word. Your share could make a world of difference for someone out there.